Hi everyone, it's Dan here, and in our latest installment of tips for you as a student coming to Canada, I wanted to give you some advice on how you can increase your English language scores when you are in Canada. Now, when you are applying for your study permit, you will have to have a certain level of English as part of the entry requirements for your course. However, if I was looking at all of you right now and I asked, put your hand up if you, after you finish studying, would want to stay in Canada, possibly through a post-study work permit or ultimately towards permanent residency or citizenship. I would imagine almost all of you would want to. So when you are in Canada, yes, you have a certain level of English in order to gain entry into your course. However, with our immigration system and points, the more points that you score, or the higher level that you score, I should say, in your language test, whether that's English or French, the more points that are available for you. Your English language test that you take is only active or valid for 2 years from the date at which the test is taken. So it is possible, if you were to study for, say you studied for a year and then you worked for another year on a post-study work permit, by the time you were preparing to apply for permanent residency, you may need to take another English language test. So how can you improve your scores? Here are some suggestions that I would advise for you to do. The first one is, when you are in Canada and you are living and studying there, make sure that the people that you're living with have agreement on a house rule, which is the language that is spoken in that house is only English or French. Like I said, you are thinking about what is best for you in the future. While it's easy to live in a house with people who all come from the same country as you, is that going to improve your English language? When you take your Ielts exam, you will have topics on a variety of different areas. Here's a scenario. Someone is a student and they come to Canada and they are studying a health-related degree. Their ability to communicate in English or French within the context of the health industry, they will develop very well. Whether it is prescriptions or reading doctors' recommendations, reading medical charts, those areas will be very strong. However, your Ielts language test will not be specific to your chosen field of study. For example, in speaking, you may be asked to speak for 2 minutes about your knowledge of recycling. In writing, you might be asked to write a detailed report based on a graph you have read, which shows language tests in the country of Singapore for a decade. In reading, you might be asked to read a detailed chapter from a 19th century English poet. Or in listening, you might be asked to listen to an article about the history of a pencil. Now, I am giving you those examples because I have taken Ielts before. And it is a requirement for me in order to become an RCIC. Those are real life experiences of someone who has taken the Ielts exam. Another important factor is not only in the house, if it's possible, to communicate with a variety of different people from different parts of the world. Communicate with them in English or French. And the reason is because then you get exposed to many different accents. in your IELTS, you might be talking to someone who their first language, or they may have an accent that you haven't heard before. In your listening component of IELTS, you might be listening to someone with a Scottish accent or a Welsh accent, possibly a Jamaican accent. So getting exposure to as wide a variety of accents will only be to your benefit. Being able to communicate in everyday conversations, not only within your studies, but everyday conversations about history, about the news, all those areas will do you great benefit when it comes to you writing your English language. Your English language exam is worth points. And like I said, the more points that you score, the higher your test score is on your language test, the more points that you could be eligible for. So it is a good way to gain more points while you are living in Canada. So take advantage of those ideas. If you are someone who is now looking at coming to Canada to study, the fall semester in 2021 is already packed up. So you would be looking at either the winter of 2022 or possibly the spring of 2022 or the fall of 2022, which is in September. Get in contact with us today. Follow us on our Facebook page, our Instagram, and our YouTube. We look forward to hearing from you soon as we work together with you to bring your study dreams to Canada to reality.